Rumkey is about to step into the ring for tonight's fight with Wayne Stumpy Kane. They are currently dragging the last boxer, Adrian the Jackhammer Saunders, off on a stretcher and mopping up the fresh blood from the filthy canvas floor. The master of ceremony, David Dave, steps into the ring and removes a magic rod of vocal amplification from his pocket along with a piece of paper listing tonight's matchups. Before raising the mic to his mouth, the MC speaks. And that's how it's done, folks. He motions to the stretcher as it's removed from the ring, then looks down at the paper. Roger the Detonator Lawson is now moving on to face off with Paul Basher Cox on Friday night. Be sure to tell your friends, neighbors, priest. Hell, everyone you meet be there. It's going to be a doozy. The MC raises his arms to get the crowd's attention, slowly lowering them to quiet the crowd. Bashing class employees around the arena, they begin to lower the wicks on the lanterns in the room as it grows silent. Bullseye lanterns focus to shine spotlight to the center of the ring, illuminating the MC as his eyes pan across the audience with dramatic effect. He pauses, slowly takes in a deep breath, and raises the magic rod of that vocal amplification to his mouth. And now, entering the ring, the little death from below, the uppercut of doom, the man who always heats below the belt. Stormcaps on, and thankfully only, Rumkey the Fire-Faced Dumpster. And tonight's challenger, a newbie to the bash, all the way from Aeroport. He's a little man with a big chip. Let's give up for Wayne Stumpy Kane. A muscular dwarf steps into the ring, removing a small silken robe. His trainer leans in, whispers into his ear as they both stare at Rumkey. Wayne looks visibly angry at the sight of Rumkey and leans forward on his stool, punches his fist into his palm, then glances at the MC as if to signal he's ready to fight. Oh, the beats are in! Let's let these little fellas see who's the king of the playground! The Bash and Clash suddenly illuminates, as the lantern's flames are all cranked to the max, illuminating the ring and casting the audience in shadow. The fight official hammers the bell to signal the beginning of round 1. The deafening tone resonates throughout the Bash and Clash. The fighters approach each other as the MC backs out of the ring. Let's keep this a relatively clean fight, boys.
Hey, nice to meet you there, Wayne. I promise not to hurt you too bad, being that this is your first fight here in the Cape and all.
Wayne responds with 3 lightning-fast punches to Rumkey's face, knocking him to a knee. The crowd gasps in awe at the exchange. Before Rumkey can regain his composure, Wayne leaps into the air, lands another punch on top of Rumkey's head, knocking him to the floor. The referee steps between Wayne and Rumkey to pause the fight. Hey, hold off there, Wayne. Let him get to his feet. Rumkey gathers his wits and lifts himself off the floor. As he glances into the crowd, he sees the man he met in the line at the DMV, standing ringside, shaking his head in disappointment. Rumkey stands up, shakes his own head a bit, and raises his glove in the direction of the man.
Hey! Glad you could make it!
The ref steps aside and Wayne aggressively attacks, landing yet another direct hit to Rumkey's jaw. Blood shoots out from his mouth and splatters onto the first row of the crowd. Without missing a beat, Rumkey returns with a left hook, landing a crushing blow to Wayne's kidney, doubling him over in pain. Rumkey wipes the blood from his chin and spits on the canvas, then takes a few steps back to allow Wayne to face off again. A lucky hit, you forge-worn coward. I'm glad I got the pleasure of ridding the world of the last of you.
What's that? I think I knocked a little something loose in your brain pan there, Wayne.
Wayne fakes a left hook, then connects with his right, sending a crushing blow to Rumkey's ribs. There's an audible cracking sound as pain surges through Rumkey's body. His eyes glaze over as things begin to go dark. I thought that face tattoo meant you were an elite warrior. They're veritas younglings that have more fighting them than your pitiful clan. Rumkey's ears buzz with a high-pitched tone that fades into the clanging of weapons. He opens his eyes to see a dwarven warrior, swinging a battle axe at his head. The razor-sharp blade slices through the tip of Rumkey's nose as he jumps back to avoid the attempted decapitation. Rumkey tightens his grasp on the handle of the short sword he finds in his hand, slashing out with a flurry of strikes, finally driving his sword deep into the warrior, piercing clean through his chain armor, and severing in two the cross-shaped crest, with a circle around the center, an elegant script spelling the word Veritas on this man's armor. He hears the battle cries and screams of fellow dwarfs as they hold off the onslaught of the attacking army. A bellowing call shouts out to him through the chaos. Ulmak! Here! This way, brother! For a brief moment, Rumkey pauses in confusion, as he hears the faint sound of cheers and clapping through the cries of battle. Ulmak! Retreat! Rumkey, no, in this moment, Ulmak looks up to see a familiar dwarf signaling him to an open doorway leading out of the fray. The same dwarf that applied the mark of Clangadin to his forearm. The same dwarf who has now twice called him brother. Ulmak thrusts the blade of his sword into the chest of another advancing Veritas warrior, sinking it to the hilt. With a swift yank, he quickly retracts it from the lifeless body. The crowd bellows as Rumkey lands blow after blow to Wayne, snapping his neck and sending him to the mat. Rumkey moves toward his motionless body to land another blow as the ref jumps between them. Hold! Wait! Back off, he's down. Another warrior, much taller than a typical Veritas, leaps in front of Ulmak, blocking his escape path. Ulmak bashes his foe with his shield and sends him to the floor, then makes his way across the battlefield, leaping over bodies and obstacles, as the Veritas army floods the room from both flanks, leaving a small pathway in which Ulmak dashes to follow his brother through the exit. Retreat!
To the bridge!
As Rumkey bashes the ref with his forearm, sending him to the canvas, he leaps over Wayne, jumping through the ropes surrounding the ring. The crowd parts as he makes his way toward the exit. Some of the patrons are cheering as others shout curses at him, as Rumkey barrels through the bash and clash, knocking anyone to the ground that impedes his path. Ulmak passes through the large metal doorway leading to the bridge over the Matham crevice. He holds the door open as a few others pass through before slamming the door shut and barring it. As he turns, he sees that the Veritas warriors have taken this bridge and are slaughtering the Forgeworn inhabitants. He charges with his small band of Forgeworn warriors into the fray, bashing and slashing through them. As they progress, the Veritas fighters suddenly seem frightened, running and screaming to get out of his path. One enemy stands amongst them and seems to be shouting commands, potentially rallying their troops. Act now! Get them before they run out!
There! Take out their commander!
Ulmak casts off his shield, sprints towards the leader. With a great leap, he tackles him and grasps his head in his hands. The commander tries to grab Ulmak, but his arms are crushed against the floor under Ulmak's legs.
I'm not going to kill you, but you'll wish you were dead.
Ulmak thrusts his thumbs into the commander's eye sockets as he screams out in agony.
You'll spend the remaining years in one of our deepest prison cells, you bastard.
Rumkey, stop!
The street outside of the bash and clash is chaos. Carts overturned, townsfolk picking themselves off the ground after Rumkey's charge. A carriage from Lehan's carriage service stops in the middle of the street. The passengers are awestruck as Helkruk leaps from the driver's seat and runs up to the madman.
Rumkey, what are you doing? Calm down, my friend. You're scaring everyone.
Rumkey stares down at his hands as the commander's head transforms into a melon from the merchant booth next to him. His thumbs gouging deep inside as the juice flows onto the ground as his hands continue to crush the fruit.
Helkruk. What the? What is this?
The people in the street start yelling out to summon the guards.
Oh my, this is not good, Rumkey. Quickly, come on. Let's get in the carriage.
Helkruk turns to his customers with an uncomfortable look on his face.
Look, I'm so sorry, folks. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to get out here. There won't be any charge, of course.
My word, you plan to help this hooligan?
I'm very sorry, ma'am.
I'm a man.
Oh, my mistake.
Helkruk, I was fighting. What happened? Why am I here?
The riders get out of the carriage, and Helkruk lifts Rumkey into the seat. He quickly cracks the reins, skillfully navigating the taxi around the debris and people on the streets, heading back toward the carriage service outside of town. As they proceed through the streets, Rumkey stares down at the cuts and bruises on his fists and arms. Drops of blood drip on the carriage floor. Rumkey tries to wipe them away with his feet, but only makes the red staining on the wood worse. He glances up to see if Helkruk is watching when he feels a warmth come over his arms. The double axe tattoo on his forearm begins to glow slightly, and he begins to feel a pulsation in his hand.
Oh shit. It's happening again. Like the guy at Lonnie's house, see?
Helkruk looks over and sees Rumkey staring at the glowing tattoo.
It feels warmer this time.
Glancing up from Rumkey, Helkruk quickly pulls the reins to narrowly miss a pedestrian, bringing the carriage to a sudden stop. Hey, watch where the hell's you going?
My mistake, sir. I'm very sorry.
Well, you'd think Leanne would get better drivers. The Cape is really going downhill.
Oh,
Hellcrook, look! It's healing me somehow.
The open wounds on Rumpke's hands close as the tattoo fades back to a dark black ink.
I think, maybe we should consult some professionals on this matter, Rumkey.
What kind of professionals does a guy see about glowing tattoos that heal you?
I'm not sure, but I think the best thing for you is to lay low for a few days. Let this blow over.
This ain't good, Hellcrook. I'm losing it here.
It's okay, Rumpy. We'll get to the bottom of this. We'll figure it out.
Last time on The Incorrigible Party. Returning to Toggles and Sprockets the day after the events on Eroding Islet, Opal takes the party into the store's workshop area to utilize a prototype of her parents, the Toggle Sprocket translator. The party discovers that the recovered blood-stained tome they found is written in Giant, a book of rituals centered around the worship of the bread beetle. Eager to report their findings to Constable Lilton, they find him unresponsive to their attempts at contacting him. It has been 2 weeks since Rumpke's incident at the Bash and Clash, resulting in the death of his opponent. On the morning of Friday, April the 20th, Hellcrook, Rumpke, and Opal, you each wake up to a letter sent by Bird through Castor's carrying service. As you untie the tightly furled strip of parchment, each of them contain the same message. You are cordially invited as Zalmo's esteemed guest to a black tie event. You will meet Kylea at the intersection of Auric Roadway East and the second parallel connector for 8 p.m. tonight, where she will escort you to the castle. Do not be late. To the second, 1 minute after the parchment is unfurled, the paper harmlessly combusts into a plume of black smoke that quickly dissipates, leaving no trace of the message. So, you each have a bit of an appointment. If you recall, Zalmo still does owe you payment for your acts against the Trinity in the Denizen and helping out the Borlo orphanage. So certainly incentivized to show up for that at least. And as the paper did note, it is a black tie event, so you will have to scrounge up some type of formal wear however you can. Or as formal as you'd like to dress, I suppose.
Oh gosh, I don't think I've ever owned a black tie.
Rumpke shows up in just a black tie. What? You said black tie?
They were specific.
They were very specific.
Yeah, Opal's gonna borrow a dress from her mom's closet, and it's gonna be a little wide and loose.
A little busty.
Yeah, it'll be alright.
Hellcrook will probably have to go shopping to see what the nicest thing is that he can get within his budget.
Well, you know what? I think if you spoke to Lehan, he could pull out a 70-year-old burgundy velvet suit that he wore to his school graduation, and
There you go.
it might fit you. You could maybe muscle into it.
The carriage services have a lost and found at all?
Well, that's true. You could rummage around in that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a hodgepodge of outfit.
I think the Bash and Clash used to have an announcer guy that was a little bit shorter in stature, and he had a little suit that he wore when he was doing the announcing. They sort of kept it in the back, but it's really tight because my muscles are so big. So it's I had to do some adjustments, like there's little cuts in the bottom of the sleeves and such. So just so it'll fit. But if I was to flex, it would just rip it out.
And of course, Kylea, you received similar instructions from Zalmo. You too will be a guest at the dinner table, as you did have your own part in the events down in the Denizen. And you've just, two will need to dress up and find something to wear to dinner, as it is black tie, and you know where you need to be to meet the rest of the party.
Is Zalmo upset with us?
I think enough time has passed, as I believe about 4 or 5 days ago, you took a bit of a trip outside of the city, right?
Yeah.
When you returned, as Zelma will often give out details to what the children need and where they need to go and what they need to do. There was a couple days there where he did not say a single word to you. He decided to prolong your absence despite you physically being there.
So I'm on my best behavior now. Got it. We will have found a very, very nice dress. We, quote, found a very nice dress that we are wearing that we know Zalma would find appropriate. We're making maximum effort.
And this will be the first time the four of you have been all together since, for 2 weeks here. So meeting at the specified intersection that serves as a border for 3 districts in this section of the map, the Assemblers Row, the Storage System South, and of course the Wares District. You all meet up where you were instructed to via the message.
Hello? Hi.
Hey, why do we have to wear this fancy stuff?
Yeah, I don't really feel really comfortable in this, but I don't know. I didn't want to offend Zalmo. It's good to it's good to see you all. It's been a little while. I hope you're keeping okay.
You notice that Rumpke has a lot of bruises and scars on his face, and his fists look pretty beat up. Yeah, it's been going all right.
You been doing a lot of fights?
Yes, yeah.
We saw mention in the paper.
Why didn't you contact me for a tonic, Rumpke?
Yeah, I've been busy. I mean, I've been doing all right. I mean, I'm okay.
All right. Good for you, I guess.
But if you got any on you, I'll happily owe you.
This is just a dress. No straps, trinkets, or vials on me. Just my daily potion.
You all look very nice.
Yeah, thanks. It's tight.
You are sleeping okay, Rumpke? How are you? How's your mind doing?
I got a lot to deal with, as you know, Hellcrook.
Yeah.
Had a conversation with a fella. He's trying to lead me down the right path, I guess. I don't know what to believe. These religious people, I don't know if I buy into all that.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm really a very religious type, but I've learned, much of what's made me the man I am today from being exposed to religious folks, so there's some good in it, I think. You take what works for you.
Yeah, I'll fill you in after this dinner thing, and we probably need to talk a bit.
So I went to the guards. Because, well, I don't know, no one seemed to care that Happy was missing, and I checked in with Hellcrook every day, and he didn't hear anything, and then Kylea just, left town doing who knows what, and I think, Rumpke, where have you been? But yeah, so I think it was a few days after we didn't get a buzz back, and when Hellcrook didn't say anything about, he said there was no word or no buzz or anything, and then, I don't know, I went to the guards, and I asked them about Happy.
April 9th, about 3 days after the Breadbittle book was completely translated and the copy was recorded by Opal and Kylea. Opal, you've gone up to what will be your best bet if you're looking for information on any type of officer of the City Guard, is the Guard Shack district, where the City Guard headquarters is. This district is where the vast majority of the city's guard force are housed and trained, and where they live. It kind of serves as a dual purpose. Think of it as almost like a military barracks. Kind of very similar to that.
Live there, work there. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's located in the northwest corner of the city. So again, any information that you would be seeking, that would be your best place to go.
Okay, that's where I'll head.
You basically cross the Cliff End roadway and stepping into this district, and you can see again like the rows of houses. They look like very nondescript. They're very function over form type of thing, right? And they're in arranged and built in very orderly rows. And directly kind of ahead of you, continuing north, you see two identical buildings. They're rectangular in shape, but on the front of them, they each have this like large glass rotunda that kind of sticks out and protrudes from the rest of the building. And both you know that you can tell by like the signage and stuff, the building on what would be on your left is the like headquarters proper, where like the captain of the guard would have their office and many other officers would be working out of. The secondary building is kind of like where they would house personnel files and old case files about crimes within the city. So you know which building that you need to go into. And as you step into the front entrance of the building on the left, you can see that an officer sits behind a desk that's kind of stationed in the middle of this rotunda area. The rest of the building, again, that kind of large rectangular shape, you can see there's about a dozen or so city guards that are milling about inside, clearly, filing paperwork and filling out paperwork about incident reports, etc. And there's clearly like this building is composed of a number of what look like offices and like other type of closed off rooms within this large space.
I'll walk up to the guy at the desk.
Yeah, I'll be right with you as he is clearly scribbling out on some paperwork of his own.
How high is the desk?
Probably you're just be able to see over it.
I want to know. Oh, okay, I was going to say, can I read what he's writing?
Oh, not quite. He kind of finally puts down his quilt. Yes. Can I help you?
Hi, I'm here to report a missing person.
Okay. It's very serious. Name of missing person?
Yeah, sir, it's, Happy Lilton, constable. He's a constable.
You see, he kind of, like he's in the process of writing down your information, right? He kind of pauses. Let's take this to a back room. I'll have a higher ranking. I'll have a sergeant speak to you about this matter. Please, follow me.
Okay.
I'll follow.
He'll stand up and kind of lead you back to some of those closed-off rooms. They clearly look like interrogation rooms as you are led into one. There's no windows in here.
Oh, crap.
Looks like one wall is like a mirror. It has a mirror on it that you can, you see yourself reflected in. A small table with two chairs on either side of it. He'll have you sit down in one, kind of motioning to you. Very, very polite.
Am I in some kind of trouble, officer?
You're reporting a missing constable. That's incredibly serious. Please, just wait here. Can I get you something to drink? Some water?
No, I'm okay, thanks.
And he'll kind of close the door behind him and leaves you to your own devices for a little bit. And you are sitting here for upwards of an hour before
Oh, jeez.
another officer comes in.
I'm just like spinning trinkets on my armor and like sifting through potions. I don't know.
Just fiddling and killing time.
Yep.
And another officer, a new officer, comes in. And he kind of looks older, kind of got like a scruffy beard, clearly like more than like a 10 o'clock shadow kind of thing going on. His eyes look a little red and like bloodshot, as if he hasn't slept in maybe a day or so. He kind of slowly pulls the chair on the other side of you as it grinds against the stone floor.
Classic.
Sits down in it across from you. What's your name?
My name is Opal Togglesprocket. Togglesprocket.
And he takes your information. How do you know Happy?
Well, Happy came to ask me about the Founders Day parade, and we had been in touch, and I know he's been missing for 1, 2, 3. He's been missing for 3 days. I haven't heard from him in 3 days.
So you spoke to him then on the 5th or 6th of this month?
Yeah, I think that's right.
In what capacity? Are you a criminal?
Oh, no. No, we're not criminals. So it all started with Sergeant Vepper blowing up.
You had something to do with that too?
No, I had nothing to do with it. But he was interviewing me to see if I knew anything about it.
And what did you tell him?
I told him I didn't know anything about it. But then I told him we were at the Founders Day parade and that we saw many... Okay, I saw many peculiar things, like a fake founder and, you know, the guy that changed heads. So I was telling him about what I found.
And what does this have to do with Constable Lilton?
So, he was running down the clues on the fake founder because they obviously hired an actor, and he was in charge of doing that, I guess, because Sergeant Vepper was in the hospital. So we tried to find this actor who was playing the founder, and we went to the waterway to find this guy at his home, and I'm pretty sure that we found his body without a head, but we can't know without the head. And then we found this tree, like, full of heads, and these there was a lot of stuff going on. And so then on the way home from that night at the waterway, I stopped at an outpost and I told the guards what we saw and where to investigate. I've been helping you guys all along.
So you're telling me you were involved in the Eroding Islet massacre, gave an anonymous tip leading us there, and now coming clean that you were a witness, had something to do with it?
No. My friends and I fought the beast and stopped it from getting worse and discovered it for you guys and told you about it. Like, come on.
Beast? What beast?
It's called a bread beetle. I could tell you all I know about it, which is kind of a lot, but you gotta work with me here. I didn't do this.
So Constable Lilton put you and some number of your friends onto this investigation?
He just said he wants to know what we find out. It's kind of like, you know, turning the other way and allowing us to find out, but then, like, get back in touch with him. So he gave us this medallion that, like, you push and then it, like, vibrates, and then when he gets the message, he's supposed to push back, like, saying, okay, like, 10-4, message received. And there was responses on it, but he didn't go to our meeting place, and then now there's no responses on it, and he hasn't been at the meeting place, and that's all. That's it. That's like almost all of it.
How well do you know Constable Lilton?
I'd like to think I could speak of his character. He's a great officer and a fine man who cares about the people very much.
How well do you know his family?
I know nothing of his family. I couldn't tell you if he had a family.
Can I have the name of your friends involved in this incident?
Why? Like, what do you mean, incident? This is all like me giving you information.
You were telling me that you and an undisclosed number of people were witness to the massacre in the waterway. We found 6 bodies in there.
Okay. I was there. Please don't cringe if you recognize the name, okay? He's turned his life around. I was there with Hellcrook Tread. He's a good guy. Anyway, and then I was also there with Rumpke. I don't know his last name, but Rumpke. He's like a fighter in the pits.
Okay. And that's it?
Yeah.
You kind of, again, scribbling as you're recanting the story.
There would be more than 6 bodies if it wasn't for us. It was pretty well hidden operation in there.
So you're telling me that you've stopped the late night lopper?
No, we did not stop the late night lopper or bread battle or whatever. We seem to have stumbled upon followers or some type of, like, cultists. The bread battle wasn't there.
This is quite a story you're telling. Do you have this medallion that Happy gave you?
Hellcrook has it, but we can get it to you, yeah.
I'm afraid we're gonna have to question your friends. Tell them to come in and make a statement. officially.
I will try my darndest. They aren't really fans of authority, although they love, this community too, and they're doing good things.
The next time you have a tip for us, there's no need to come in anonymously. Simply provide your name and details.
That's what I did.
Personnel were tipped off about the eroding islet.
Yeah, the first tip. Okay, well, I guess I just was trying to protect Happy if anything happened, and, now something happened. He's a nice guy. I miss him. What are you saying about his family?
His brother is a potential victim of the late night lopper. He didn't tell you.
We hadn't spoken. I basically tipped off the guards, and that was I haven't heard from him since.
Well, I'm not surprised to hear that he's gone off on his own on this.
Whoa, how do you know he's not dead?
Well, I hope that he isn't, but he wasn't assigned the late night lopper case. That wasn't his case. It's not his station. He's simply a constable. It's not his role.
I just think he was going off of some good advice. Listen, I can't help who he shared stuff with, but we were telling him what we knew and helping. I know that's not really my job. My job is behind the counter at Tackles and Sprockets, for all of your magical needs. But can we search for him under the impression that he's a good guy and he's okay and he's lost, or maybe even kidnapped?
Well, of course, we're going to do everything we can to get him back.
What kind of stuff well, you don't have to tell me, actually. I'm just so curious what you found when you investigated. So you found Happy's brother, may he rest in peace. Who are the other victims?
We're still in the process of confirming and matching up bodies with heads found on the eroding islet. There's not many details I can share with you.
Would I have the book that we finished?
You definitely would still have it somewhere, and a copy, so whatever you would have done with it, if you wanted to bring it with you.
I feel like turning in the original for whatever reason. First of all, because it's not in common. Do you think they'd have someone that could translate giant on the guards? There's probably someone, right?
Yeah, and if not on the guard themselves, they have access to any service in the city.
Yeah.
Can I ask your name, sir?
I'm Sergeant Bannon.
Sergeant Bannon, I am willing to give you some evidence that I found at the scene. It's a book, and I can't read it, but the pictures look pretty scary, and I think you guys could maybe find some clues about this event, these monsters, what's going on?
If you can provide any additional details, that's going to help our investigation. One into the late night lopper and into finding Happy if they're connected.
I might take that water now, please.
Of course. And he will get you a drink, and if you've told him all that you're going to tell him, then you are free to go.
All right, and I walk out.
Oh my goodness, that's so much. We have stuff to tell you too, right, Hellcrook?
Well, yes, Carly is right, actually.
About midday on Soar, April 15th, Kylea is returning from an excursion outside of the city, as she's been gone for 6 or 7 days on this trip. On her way in, she stops at the Lehan Carriage Services to speak with Hellcrook.
Hellcrook?
Yes? Carlier, is that you?
Hellcrup comes around the corner from one of the stables.
Yes, we have questions. Do you know where Lehan is?
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a couple hours, but I think he's around here. Why, what can we help you with?
Do you know who takes supplies to the giants?
Supplies to the giants?
Leland, would I know that information?
You can roll me, just roll me an intelligence.
12.
You certainly don't know of anything to do specifically with giant folk, although it does seem that now giants certainly have been coming up rather recently in the last week and a half since discovering the Bread Battle book. But you definitely know that often the city will lease some wagons and use them in whatever capacity that they see fit. Usually it's a bit of a pain in the ass because when they come back, they're pretty beaten up and they generally need to be repaired more often than not once you get them back after they've been used.
So I could maybe suspect that giants might be the reason they come back beaten up.
Sure.
Sure, if you wanna.
Yes, and.
No but.
Well, Kylie, there's nothing like officially on the books, I guess you could say, but I've always wondered, sometimes, we get carriages leased out by the city, and in some instances they come back real beat up, needing lots of repairs, and kind of always wondered how that would be happening, what kind of folk would be causing so much wear and tear just over a short period of time. So maybe that's what happens. It's giants. I mean, they're big folk. They, I could see them really running down the carriages a lot more quickly than others.
Can we go ask Leanne? We need to know. We really need to know.
Yeah, let's go find him. Maybe he knows something I don't. He's been doing this a lot longer than I have. Come on, right this way.
After you.
And you find Leanne having a bit of a nap, as it is getting into the later part of the day.
But Leanne, sorry to wake you up.
I kind of knock on the door frame leading into his room.
Oh, what? Hellcrook! What is it?
Yeah, I know. You're one to enjoy your naps. I hate to disturb you, but we have company.
Oh, well, hold on. I ain't decent. Hold on, don't come in. I got my horse hanging out here. Just give me a second. Close the door.
Sorry! Did not want to see that.
Sorry, Carly. You get used to it when you spend enough time around here. He's not always got himself covered up.
That's not something we want to get used to.
Well, yeah, I agree.
You hear a shuffling and, like the tapping of his walking stick. Squeak of a dresser opening and closing. And then he kind of opens the door. Sorry about that. Came for a show, eh?
Hi. No.
Hey, I'll have you know.
Sorry.
Back in my day, them women would be knocking down the door looking for that butt.
Yeah, I'm sure they would, Leanne. Now, Kylia here's got a couple questions I wasn't quite able to answer. Maybe you would know more.
Do you know who takes the supplies to the giants?
To the giants? What are you talking about?
The giants in the mountains said they get carriages with supplies, and we assumed it was from you.
What do you mean? What do I be doing with any giant folk? What are you doing in the mountains?
We're asking the questions here.
Oh! Someone else came for a show, too. Who is there?
Decidedly not. Listen. Where are the supplies for the giants coming from?
Leanne, this is Seishodal. It's complicated, but
Well, my mom always used to say I was always of two minds myself, so I get it. Well, hey, let's go look at some of the log books and see if we can't figure this out. Come on, follow me.
We really appreciate it, thank you.
So Lehan takes you down to his little makeshift office. It's kind of just like a desk in the living room, and he goes behind it, opens up a drawer, and pulls out this big log book. It's like one of those 2 foot long by foot high books that kind of flips over and takes up the majority of this desk. The papers in it you can see are browned and aged, and he starts licking his fingers. Flip, and you can see dates. These dates go back decades. This is like a log for almost looks like the entire business of Lehan Carriage Services, and he's like flipping, flip. Yeah, almost there.
That's a big book.
Oh yeah, well we do a lot of business. Now let's see. I can say I don't know anything about any giants, but once every month we rent a gaggle of wagons out to the Mercantile Corporation. Let's see, a fella here by the name of Shemp Hampleton arranges the payment. They come and take the wagons, and they're gone for about a week or so, and then they bring them back. It's really good business for us, other than the maintenance after.
When was the last time they went?
Let's see. Around Founders Day by the looks of it. A little before, a couple of days, I think. End of Marla.
When's the next time they're going?
Oh, I don't know. I can't tell the future. The book doesn't read the future, Hylia.
Well, they haven't, like, scheduled it or, like, asked for in advance to do it? They just come on a day and expect you to have the carriages ready?
Oh, no. Usually I get word a couple of days ahead of time. But no word yet.
How long ago is that? About a month ago?
Just over 2 weeks ago. It's the 15th of April. So, like, end of last month, basically.
So, it'll probably be about 2 weeks before they do go again?
Well, he kind of flips pages back, checking. I mean, it looks like going off the records. Yeah, that's the pattern. Why? What's going on? What do you have to do with this?
We want to get on the Giants' good side so that we might be able to get some information from them that we need. The Giants seemed like that it's been a long time since they'd had a carriage delivery.
Okay. Like I say, that doesn't have anything to do with me.
Can you let us know when they contact you the next time?
Oh, sure. I'll pass it on to Hellcruck, and Hellcruck can pass it on to you.
Hellcruck, we really need to know this.
Oh, yeah, Carly, I don't mind helping out. If there's anything I figure out, I can let you know right away.
Thank you, Lehan. And I'll, like, pull Hellcruck away so that we can talk privately. When we went to the Giants, and I'll look back to see if Lehan's looking.
He's flipping pages back, folding the book up, putting it away.
He's pretty hard of hearing, Carly, so if you have something to tell me in confidence, I think you're safe.
We mentioned the bread battle to the Giants.
Oh.
They did not like that at all. They said that it's bad, which, we pretty much already knew. And you can't kill him, and you can't stop him until it finds its head. Which didn't make any sense to us. Because he has like 20 heads, so we don't know how many heads he actually needs. But that's what they said.
Interesting. So, they're familiar with it, and they've heard of it, or they've seen it, or they've come across it.
Yeah, they were scared. They didn't like it. They stopped talking to us after that.
Oh, even the Giants are scared of it, eh?
Yeah.
Well, that's not good.
It's very frustrating.
Yeah, you might be right. It might be good to see if we can maybe smooth things over with them a little bit, get in their good books, and they might be able to tell us some more information.
Yeah. They were wanting supplies, so at the very least, if the mercantile people don't, we could make up a carriage of supplies to take out to them. Maybe. We don't know what kind of supplies they want. Basically food, we think.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine they go through a lot of food. They're big people with big appetites.
They couldn't tell us who they talked to that brought the supplies out. They just said they were small and colorful.
I mean, Opal's pretty small and she has colorful hair, but she's never mentioned anything about the Giants.
Everything's small compared to a giant, though.
That's a good point, Sister Owl. I guess we have to widen our definition of small when we're thinking of giants. I mean, I'd be small to a giant.
Yeah. We best be getting back. We've been gone a while, and Salmo's probably not gonna be happy with us. We'll see you soon, hopefully.
Okay, Carlia and Cecil, stay safe.
You too.
I can't believe you thought I would have something to do with that.
Well, you were the first person that came to mind when small and colorful, but yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. You're pretty busy with, the business, toggles and sprockets.
Kylia, why are you even looking into all this?
Well,
Yeah, I don't like giants. Giants just get under my skin.
Is it because of the book, or like what?
we didn't intend to find giants. We just happened upon them. But
Just
Salmo's
strolling
waiting,
around
so...
the countryside alone.
Salmo, dinner.
We need to circle back to this, guys. We can't just have our party members wandering around the world alone. I couldn't contact you.
We don't report to you.
Yeah, but I'm your friend, and like stuff was going on.
We didn't know that the signal wouldn't reach us out there.
Okay, well our sending things only work in the city.
We know that now.
Well, I think what Opal's trying to say is she's glad you're okay, Carlia. And yeah, we can talk about this later tonight or tomorrow or whenever.
We were looking for a home. Home is out there somewhere in the mountains, in the trees, and we had a chance to go and look, and we didn't find anything, and Zalma's waiting, and we must go to dinner. And she'll spin on her heel and walk.
You said you came back days ago.
I think we're done talking.
Fine.
See, she's getting smaller because she's walking away.
All right.
She's not colorful though.
Well, she has some colorful language from time to time.
Salmo is waiting!
Yeah, we better
I
hurry up.
don't care.
Yeah, let's get this over with. I'm not comfortable. I want to get out of this thing.
I kind of just want to get paid.
Kylia stomping off northward, up the second parallel connector towards a walled-off section of the city, colloquially dubbed the Desolate Domain, not officially a designated or mapped-out district of the city, simply a nickname for this portion. But it was closed off after a massive fire about 20 years ago, destroyed a half a square mile of buildings, kind of overlapping into the Corlers Exhibition, the Wares District, and the Storage System District, which is the reason that the storage system is divided into a northern and southern designation. All of which, of course, living in the city, like, regardless of whether or not you were around or born when this occurred, you certainly know of the incident. The fire had one reportedly good outcome, however. But the severe damage done in the area uncovered the hidden headquarters of the Prowlers Guild, which at the time was a shadow organization, was kind of rumored to exist, kind of this nebulous organization that were said to wield a lot of influence within the city, mostly through nefarious means, assassinations, armed robbery, other types of kind of back alley dealings and connections. Despite getting that fire under control rather quickly, where the Prowlers' headquarters once stood, it actually still burns today in this type of everlasting flame that produces a mysterious green smoke. The source and cause of this fire has never been released to the public, so if it is even known by city officials, certainly the general populace of the city does not know what is causing the flames to continue to burn. But obviously, as happens in the city, there's rumors that flooded circulate, especially around the time of the fire, whether it was set by some blacklisted member of the Prowlers Guild or maybe a member of the actual city guard kind of gone rogue and taking matters into their own hands to put a stop to this organization, or maybe not even arson at all, potentially some type of failed experiment or weapon that the Prowlers were developing for who knows what purpose, potentially backfiring on them and maybe the cause of this green smoke. Again, pure speculation abound especially at the time of the incident. But with no way to quench these fires, and obviously the burning area being uninhabitable, the smaller section was further walled off, this time with kind of thick, like concrete blockings that constantly radiate heat within the desolate domain from the flames contained within it. But Kylea eventually, a bit ahead of you, reaches the outer wall of the desolate, and she pulls open a small panel of this 15-foot tall wooden structure that makes up the wall around the area. And it appears to have been outfitted with like a type of hinge that's kind of hidden to the eye from this side to act as a makeshift entryway through the barrier. This is, of course, there's areas like this Kylea may explain or may not in her current mood, but there are numerous openings like this around the desolate domain for Zalmo's children to come and go as they please as they conduct Zalmo's business. Once on the other side, you can immediately feel the difference in temperature in here, as it's kind of a pleasant warmth in the kind of cooling spring air tonight. There's charred ruins and collapsed buildings that just kind of line the street, right, as Kylea begins to lead you further in. The night sky above you is replaced by kind of a fog of low-hanging green smoke. And, despite being a few hundred feet away from the center of the desolate domain where the everlasting flames are, and despite there being this another 15-foot wall between you and the flames, the green haze seems to reflect and disperse that firelight kind of across the entire desolate domain, across this little district. So it's actually very well lit, especially compared to even just the other side of the wall. It doesn't appear that that firelight reaches much further than the smoke itself. It's almost like confined within this kind of ephemeral cloud that hazes above the desolate domain. So Kylea takes kind of a sharp left, heading westward, begins to ascend this sloping landscape. And, again, you're passing burnt vestiges of market stalls and houses, again, like buildings that would be in kind of the overlap of the districts of which the domain now has burnt out. But these are quickly getting left behind you, right, as you're continuing up this hill as you approach the castle, which is the home of Zalmo and his children. It's set atop this hill. It's this very large 3-story home, like 4,000 or 5,000 square feet. You're following now this kind of well-maintained cobblestone path that leads you up to like this colorful but kind of faded facade of like yellow and red trim with green siding. There's a large turret tower that kind of juts out from the front right corner. Its rounded walls, though, are completely windowless, and it's topped with this sweeping peak that matches 2 dormer roofs on the 3rd story, all of which appear to scrape the bottom of the green haze now as you've gained that much altitude towards the fog above. And from the top of this hill, you can look down on the majority of Stormcave. You can see lights and activity of the busy night market in the wares district, the darkened and still warehouses of the storage system, and of course now taking in the rest of the destruction of the desolate domain.
Whoa. I've never been in here.
No, this is quite the place, Kylea.
I've only learned about it in school. This is crazy.
Not many people get to come in here. We were quite surprised when Zalmo actually invited you in. When we came through the fence, that's... Did you see how we opened it? No one else knows. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be coming around here very much.
Your secret's safe with me.
Yeah, it's not my vibe for sure.
Kylea leads you inside, and Zalmo greets the 4 of you in what looks like a formal dining room. He has his signature cane in hand again, not that he needs it to walk. He seems perfectly able in his movements. He has kind of replaced his normal paisley vest that I suppose the one time you met him in person he was wearing. But now he's exchanged it for his own type of black tie attire. has a billowing black cape kind of draped over now a black pinstripe suit. Welcome. Welcome, please. Take your seats.
Listen up. There's information you can find at incorrigibleparty.com or worldanvil.com/w/Senta-Leland Steel. Our music is provided by Tabletop Audio and Sarastro. You can go to patreon.com/incorrigibleparty to support us or tell your friends. Rate and review us. Give us 5 stars. It's the least you can do. Also, join our Discord. Talk to us. Tell us how great we are. That's all. Yeah. Happy adventuring or something.
This has been a Sounds of Steel production.